WECT Investigates, where more than $1 billion taxpayer dollars are going.
The state auditor's office has released a new report, and it shows how state agencies are spending your money. WECT's Connor Smith updates his investigative report from earlier this year. Now, Connor, the auditor's office says those state agencies have not addressed the problems that the audit recently flagged.
Yeah, that's right, John. Now, we told you back in January across the state, more than $1 billion public dollars sits in limbo as lapsed salary. That's money that should be going to employees but goes to other areas or in some cases isn't spent at all. So tonight we're getting a look at the changes that some departments have made and the changes that haven't been made. Keeping our prisons safe. It's not a job for everybody.
Being a correctional officer is a very difficult position, right? It's a hard job. It's an important mission. It's critical to public safety.
Leslie Dismukes, the secretary of the North Carolina Department of Adult Corrections, says it's a job that needs more support. In North Carolina, new correctional officers make $37,000 a year. Dismukes says that's fueling the 2,800 long-term openings the department has statewide. According to the state auditor's office, that's generated $228 million in lapsed salary and roughly $13 million just in southeastern North Carolina.
We are unable to fill those vacancies without significant increases from the General Assembly.
Dismukes says more openings means more safety concerns. On Saturday, the department says a convicted murderer, Alfonso Lewis, tried to kill a correctional officer in Columbus County. It's unclear what exactly led to that. The department is still investigating, but state data shows 58 long-term vacancies just in Columbus County.
The operational impacts are huge. Not only can we not run safe prisons if we don't have enough staff to actually perform the safety functions, man the safety posts.
As lawmakers and Governor Josh Stein look at funding options, the DAC is adjusting. After the auditor's initial report in December, the department eliminated more than 1,500 positions. That lapsed salary funding is now going to nurses and medical care instead of sitting in limbo.
Even making the move that we made, we are still at a significant shortfall for the end of this fiscal year.
Dismukes says using lapsed salary funds isn't ideal, but with so many openings and so many budget needs, she says they don't have much of a choice as the department works to improve its staffing numbers at prisons around the state. State Auditor Dave Boliak says other departments have not followed DAC's lead. Less than 20% of the long-term openings they flagged statewide have actually been eliminated. We do have a link to that state vacancies dashboard inside your WECT News app. Connor Smith, WECT News.